Hey everybody, back to Lockdown Barbecue. Today we're doing a brisket. I've already rinsed it. I've trimmed the fat. You want the fat down. You want to trim it down to about eighth to a quarter inch or so, about like that. If you need help on how to trim it, message me and I can walk you through it, or I can show you on a video. It's pretty simple. So get the fat sides up right now. I'm still prepping it. I'm going to start off. I'm just going to take some mustard, and you can use something. This just helps it get the seasoning to stick to it. If you don't want to use anything, that's fine. You can use oil, whatever. I mean, it's up to you what you want to use. The mustard's not really adding any flavor. You won't taste it whatsoever. It just helps the seasoning cling on to it. Just kind of rub that on top. Again, still using the pork barrel barbecue rub. Probably in the next video or two I'll have my own rub. I'll make that and show you guys what I use when I make it myself. And just kind of liberally throw this all over. Get a good coating on there. I'll take some brown sugar. You can use brown sugar if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. I like a little bit of sweetness that it adds to the meat as it smokes. So for this, I'm not adding a ton like I would with ribs or something like that. It's just kind of generally all over the top of it. Just kind of push it on there. We'll flip it over to the other side. You don't have to use a lot of mustard. It's enough to get a thin coat all over the meat. Get the rub all over it. If you decide to make your own rub, I keep these bottles because they're great to put your rub in and use it for the future. I'm going to get it on all the sides of the meat. I want the whole meat to taste good. Since I'm about out of the brown sugar, there's no sense in keeping a little bit of it, so I'll just use the whole thing. And as this smokes, this will kind of melt into the meat. Actually, will help kind of tenderize it also. Should give us a nice little crust on it. And we're just going to push that on, kind of cover up the whole side. Little seasoning that fell off, you can kind of pack that on there. Alright, we'll get the smoker ready, and then I'm going to show you guys how we're going to put it on there, temperature and all that. I will tell you, a lot of people think that you want to put this fat side up because they think the fat's going to help braise the meat as it smokes. Not true. With a brisket, it's one of the only cuts of meat you want to do it the fat side down. Otherwise, you're going to have some tough fat on top of it when you're done. But I'll be back shortly and we'll kind of put it on there and get it going. Alright guys, so got the grill going, grill smoker, the pellet smoker. This has been sitting for just a little bit. You can see it's kind of melted in a little bit on there. Ideally, and the best way to do it, I wanted to show you how to do it. I should have did it last night, but the best way to do a brisket is to do all this and then wrap it in plastic tight, let it sit in the fridge overnight so all that kind of soaks in better. This works fine. I've done this many times without doing that, but that just kind of lets all the flavors seep in a little bit better. And then you want to take it out, let it sit out for an hour or so before you put it on there to let it come to a little bit more of a room temperature, if you will. And I'm going to take my temperature probe. Sometimes I use a probe, sometimes I don't. But just for temperature's sake, I want to do it. And there's the fat cap, which is over here. I'll get over here so you can see. You want, and this is the thick part. So I'm taking the probe and I'm going to push it in above the fat cap. And brisket is a tough cut of meat until you cook it low and slow to get it tender. I'm going to push it in there pretty far till it's about in the center. Now we're going to take this out and we're going to put it on the smoker. So I'll meet you out there. Alright, so I have the smoker set on 225. Now some guys will tell you 250. That's fine. I like to start it out at 225, and then it's going to sit in there for, I don't know, it's up to your personal preference. You can do 4 hours, 6 hours. I'm going to try and let it go 5 to 6 hours, and then we're going to take it off of there, and then we're going to wrap it and put it back on there for a couple hours. But I'm going to go ahead and get this on here, get it going. I don't want to eat at midnight tonight. Get this going. Get a little bit more of that rub and sugar that's fall down here. We'll get that on there. Get my wife to plug that in for me, since I got stuff all over my hands. You have to pull that out there. And that's it for now, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and close this up, and we'll be back in about 5 or 6 hours. Hey guys, all right, so we're at about a 3-hour mark. I've been spraying every hour. Forgot to mention, I got 3/4 of a cup of apple cider. It's actually just a little over a 1/4 cup of Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Only use Bragg's. And about 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce, Lee & Perrons. And then I also put in roughly about, I guess, 3 tablespoons of maraschino cherry liquid, whatever. So, little secret hint there. So I'm just going to spray this brisket a little bit, about every hour, just help keep it moist. Already looking really good. Yes, at 3-hour mark. And that's it. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright guys, we're here at about 5.5 hours into the smoke. I turned it up to 250. We have an internal temperature. We're at 153 now, so it's moving up. When the meat gets in the 140 to 145 range, it's referred to as a stall. So the temperature stalls out for about an hour, hour and a half. It'll stay in that 140, 145 range and then it starts going up again. But I'm going to take it off of here. We're going to wrap it up. I use a pan. I probably have too small of a pan, but that's alright. It's going to get wrapped anyway. Hard to grab this here. Gloves off. What I use to spray it, I'm going to pour the rest of it in there. Not the rest of it, but most of it. Put that in there. Foil, I'm going to wrap it. Get a good seal on it, wrap it nice and tight. Set it in there, and we're going to let that go for about 2 hours, so I'll be back then. Okay, so we're almost 8 hours in. Got temperature, goes between 198 199. I'm going to go ahead and unwrap it. And I'm going to put it back on here for a little bit longer. Tighten up. My gosh. So there we are. I'm going to go ahead and close it up. We're going to let it sit on here for about another 45 minutes to an hour, and then we're going to take it off. Alright, so we're ready to take this off. It's been on here for almost 9 hours. I'm going to take this, wrap it up. How much it's shrunk up. That's what we wanted it to do. When you take it out after wrapping it, tightens it all up a little bit. It's still going to be very tender, but right now we're going to wrap it. And we're going to let it sit wrapped for maybe about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and let it rest. Been busy for a while, so as soon as it sits for that amount of time, we'll come back and I'll go ahead and slice it up. Alright, so we've let this thing rest now it's probably been almost an hour. So I'm going to get this out. We're going to see how we did. Take the meat probe out. Rinse my hand off here. Get my fork. Solid stainless steel fork. Crazy. Alright, so here's the true test. We're going to see how this thing does. We're going to slice it up. Oh boy. See how we did there. Looks good. Feels very tender. Slice is beautiful. And my mouth's watering. My wife's filming this, and she looks like she's ready to just grab some of this and go. So
the dog is even there.
The dog's over here. So that's what it looks like. Looks good. Thanks for watching.